Hello and welcome to the Sorare Show. I am Andrew Laird. You can find me as Lairdinho on Sorare. Joined today by Mr. Collections, Nep, and
Hello.
the Spirited Gator Guy, which, don't worry, he's still with us, as far as we know.
Well, yeah.
As far as we know.
maybe we could check in. Although if he's checking in whilst driving, that might be the... Yeah, don't check in.
I was going to say, hold on, pull over, check in, and then you can get back on the road. But yeah, I was just saying that I have so much to talk about collections. And I don't even remember what started the conversation yesterday where you were like, oh, this thing about collections. I was like, whoa.
The anti-stack.
That's right.
Yeah.
Right.
It's such a good anti-stack.
So yeah, I did your Barcelona one. I have one from my River Play collection. I'm fairly certain in my case, I'm making suboptimal lineup decisions just to play the collection, but I don't care.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's a benefit of multi lineups, isn't it?
Yeah, all three can crash and burn for different reasons. Thanks everyone for coming in. We got a bunch here. 1, 2, 3 Ziki Zaki, which is a new one for me, I think. Oh, maybe not now that I've said it out loud. DNP Donkey, Nep streams are always great as his strategy is mine. Collections. Bob Franklin, love collections. Would have never cared about a lot of players without them, which I think, yeah, that hits for a lot of people. Tuggy here, filling gallery with useless cards to only boost collection score. Sign me up, my kind of content. I feel like you guys are presenting that as if it's like some sort of negative. But no, we're all positivity here when it comes to collections. Toby, Kev, Liam, Ricky, Red or Dead, Lionel. I don't usually catch the streams live. But when I saw the topic and the guest, I knew I couldn't miss it. Thanks, Nep. Look at you, just bringing in everyone who doesn't usually come in.
I do what I can.
Way to be. What's that?
I do what I can. I didn't even notice it before either, but now I've pointed it out to you. I'm so self-conscious of my lopsided headset.
Oh, you didn't even have to say it. Now everybody's gonna know. Oh my god!
Like I just took them off the other day and it snapped like in my hand. Like I'm obviously like too aggressive or whatever.
Yeah.
And now I might talk to you like this for the rest of the. I might face this way and just look away from the camera.
Can I hold on?
Yeah.
There we go. Now it looks like you're talking to me.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Well,
nice. Yeah. Solid.
That's going to be really confusing for me. Anyway, NepentheZ in the house. Let's go. RJ, what's up? And now I've lost my here we go. SGT, it's Wilson. Like the stream and grabbed a beer. That's all we're talking about here. There we go. Nep, what do you think about this question here before we fully get into the collection thing? Actually, I guess it's a collection question. What do you think it's a better ROI this season? 3,000 to 4,000 pounds on a full rare Arsenal collection or same amount of money just on rare Prem squads?
I think you can get 2 full Arsenal in-season collections for that. You would just have to use 1 classic goalkeeper. And I think that would yield more than having 2 Premier League lineups.
Love it. Tatas, what's up? Investor Dur. Ooh, Super Totoro. That's a fun one. Fran, Raul. Oh, Quinny. Perfect timing. Just made it to football training. Quinny's... I love that Quinny's like at football training right now, but he's like half there because the other half is right here. Love it. Anyway, thank you everybody for coming in. And this is an interesting question. Do you have a headset head from gaming?
No, it's like I actually
that even mean?
Like sometimes you wear a headset for so long. Usually it's like a dent in your hair, but some people like have the headsets on so much and so tight that it starts to like very minor, like change the whole shape of the top of the head. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it's pretty mad.
Yeah, let's settle down, guys. Jeez.
Yeah.
Jeez.
I have neither.
For now.
I just have a ball.
That's because you just break your head.
Yeah.
Anyway, so the completely separate from the anti-stack collection of why I wanted to talk about collections is because I've been adding to my Ren collection recently. And I'm like getting to the point where I'm almost, I can see the finish line. And you know what's at the finish line, Nep?
Pain.
Nothing.
Yeah, just pain.
There's just nothing there. And I was thinking to myself, that's not fair. I've burned a lot of money here. At least give me something. And then it felt kind of selfish because I was like, I deserve something for this. But I think I deserve something if I finish this thing. And it's kind of weird because there seems to be absolutely zero incentive once you hit 5% to complete the collection, unless you are able to get to the top of the leaderboard, in which case you get nothing also, usually. So what's the solution here? Why should I keep
boxes? Essence. There you go. That's it. Boxes and essence. They've hit. Who was I watching? I was watching. There was this content creator. You quote tweeted him. I've watched Salara's Best, I think, or Salara's Beast, and he opened a 20 essence box and hit Ricky Page rare. And his reaction on his video was like a FIFA guy packing like Ronaldo or Messi back in the day. And I was smiling. I was so happy because he was so happy.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't, if he won a Ricky Page, if he won like a classic comp and got a star, he already has like a inclination that he might get a Ricky Page. So he's kind of like, yes, I got what I wanted, rather than opening an essence like pack and being like, oh my God, I can't believe what I just got. And I think Sorare will do, I think it's just great business model from them to be like, have some essence, craft a card. Oh, you've got a rare Ricky Page. Now guess what? You're going to deposit some money to finish off a couple of, lineup. Like everyone wins, they all win. Like, I just think it's really good. And so I think every checkpoint that you hit in collections should give you a 1, 2, 3, 4, then 5-star box. And like once you hit that, if you get the complete collection, you should just get maybe a bonus 5-star box. Mm-hmm. Because that way, like, by the time you complete the collection, you've either got a couple of bucks of market credits or you've got enough essence to build like a tier 4 plus or something. And there's, I've got a couple of collections where I'm like 3 cards short. Like actually the final collection, I just got one of the defenders now. One of the bots had it because he's moving to Copenhagen.
Love that.
And I'm now 2 players short. And I'm like, I'm on like 1,100 collection score. I have zero reason to go and buy these 2 players. Right. But even if it was just a 5-star box at the end, I would go and spend the like £60 necessary to get something that's worth about £3 because I'd feel like I won. Even though Sorare win.
Well, do they win if it's like an older collection? The 5% of your £60, like it?
Yeah, maybe not.
But I also
they do win if I buy somebody's card that's shit for them. Sorry for swearing. And then they go and spend that money on the market to buy an in-season card. Sorare still get that.
Now we're good.
Yeah,
right, we get it. Yeah, that's great. Yeah, I think there's this bridge that they need to bridge to gap to bridge. I messed that one up. I'm still not sure which one it is. Anyway, they need to figure this out. How about that? Because I have a couple collections that are at 5% that are incomplete, and they're only because I'm a weirdo that I'm like, I need to light more money on fire to make sure I can complete this. But I did think that like there's going to be a point where I complete it, and there's really nothing. I already get the badge. I'm already at 5%. I'm actually overpaying for players I don't even want just to get this collect. Like they got me. Yeah. They got me on this one. I would just like to say, please stop taking so much advantage of me and please give me something else.
Yeah. I don't know. Like, I think, Peter's in the chat, so much essence with a tear face. I'm not sure if he doesn't agree. I'll obviously respect his views greatly. He's a much smarter man than me, especially with like some of the deep stuff that he talks about on Sorare. But I think essence is it doesn't have to be essence, but a box that contain, even if it's market credits, because again, it incentivizes people to spend more money. And like I made about like £30 of market credits from this first game week, which was a bit disappointing. I was hoping to get a bit more. And the first thing I said to myself was, I'm just going to save until I have like £400 or £500 worth of market credits, and then buy another in-season Bukayo Saka for half price. I'm like, I'm not sure if it does do the refresh thing that MLB does. I believe it does. So when you get more, you still get the 30 days. So I'm like, I could just keep stacking this market credit up, and then I'll be golden. And then I got the market credit, and I was immediately like, nope, do you know what I'm doing? I'm buying Salzburg players because I can get 30 quid off this guy. And that was it.
Yeah, Peter's on your train there. Market credits are amazing to finish collections. Yeah. How many full collections do you have?
I think like 6 or 7, maybe 8 now. Actually,
did you go into them thinking you were going to finish them, or just that you wanted to get the 5%?
The LDU Keto one, like
that was
about light money. That's the one-offs, and I overpaid on literally everybody. But I believe I might be the only person on Sorare to have an entire collection of one-offs. And so that in itself, at least, I don't know if maybe there is somebody else, but I think that's like, I love that. And even if I'm not the only person, it's a handful of people at most that
Absolutely.
have the whole collection of one-offs. So it just, and this is where like Sorare's got interesting for me recently, because when I first joined Sorare, I as I explained to you a few times when we talked, this was going to be my my retirement fund, is just farming Sorare. I thought I was so good. I thought I was, so smart, and I was shit. And Sorare moved the goalpost, and it all came tumbling down. What I've started to appreciate about Sorare over the last sort of like 6 to 9 months, maybe 12 months, is just the cool things about like having a collection of something. Even if like the team, like in terms of LDU Keto, I think there's only 10 players from the collection that are still at the team. And so I can't even really use them to like stack a lineup anymore, because they're shit and their players have dispersed everywhere. But when I look at my gallery, like what can I sell to like finance my next plan? Every time I see a Liga de Keto card, I'm like, nope, they're there. They stay. They are there. They are there forever. They are on the mantelpiece. They are not moving. So I really, for them, I built it to have every single card. Thanks to Alexander Alvarado. What a waste of space he's been. Otherwise, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, 6 full collections, and then loads on 5%, where I just built it to get 5%. Like, like the Youngbook rare collection that I've got from 23-24. They have 50 cards, and I'm just not buying them. I just like, it was just pointless. I'm like, these cards, they're like players that have been at Youngbook for like 7 years and never ever made the bench.
Yeah.
And it's like, there's no point buying this card. It literally serves zero purpose.
So, Quinny pointed out that IAK has at least the New York City FC 1 of 100.
There we go.
Collection, but
nice.
You're right. Like, it's only a handful, surely only a handful of people that can have that. There was a comment. Now I've all lost it. I lost it. Anyway, so I started buying cards yesterday of a team that somebody can go look up if they're really that interested. They only have 19 players right now, and I realized that if I bought every single player from auction, I still couldn't get to 750 until 90 days, which, like, come on.
Yeah. So the season's over at that point. Like, yeah.
And yeah, it was just like, I don't know. It did give me the thought, like I don't know. Well, I think I'm very late to the party when it comes to the importance of being first owner on these collections. And it's like one of the things that you did like right away. And I was like, like I'll just fill the collection. And then when you like really try to get to 5%, you're just like, oh, I have to buy like every card basically. Like what's weird is that the auctions or the instant buys kind of give you the out to not have to buy the whole collection to get 5%. But at some point you have so many and you're just like, am I really going to have those 3 grayed out cards?
Yeah.
And not buy those? And so you end up doing it anyway.
Even on Sorare, it's like they populate the color when you've got the complete collection. And I'm like, I hate seeing the gray ones. I'm like, I'm actually just going to sell all of these cards because I just don't want the collections there anymore. I just want complete ones. But I'm looking at my collections now, and it's hilarious because when the Premier League cards came out, and, Sean was saying on the show with you, he's like, oh, I'll give it till like the end of the week before Nep buys a Bukayo Saka forward card. I didn't. I just went and bought the whole collection. And in my head, I'm like, I'm not doing it. I'm not. In my head, I was like, I will win Classic to get in season cards to then play in season. But the prices were just so good. And like, they're even lower now. And I can't fathom it. I can't fathom how cheap so many prices are for in season, given how good the return on investment is. I was just on stream before on like talking to my chat about how like it seems too good to be true, but you can almost buy money at this moment in time. Like, because you can spend like the Salzburg collection that I'm going to build will cost me about like £600. I already have a goalkeeper that I won as a reward. We can assign a value to him if you see fit, but it takes it to like £800. It doesn't take many $60, $75. You don't even have to win. You don't even have to hit a podium because there's so few participants in the divisions. The essence will add up over time. The cards will add up over time. And then the drop off from the in-season to the classic is not significant enough anymore to the point where you only need to yield like 30 to 40% of your spend to sell at the end of the season and be at zero, which gives you a lot of room for like success, really. And I understand different people's budgets are different, but I just can't understand why people wouldn't now go and buy quality teams to get up into Division 1, because it's so hard for everyone to get up into Division 1. Yet it's so easy to win rewards in Division 1. And it just seems too good to be true.
So I had a similar conversation yesterday. Not that it was too good to be true, but I don't think enough people appreciate how much money is being rewarded based on card prices. And I find that particularly true in limited, which is weird because I feel like all of the talk is like limited is so hard. There's so many people who are competing, but some of these card prices are so low that you really don't need to hit that many times. Like you don't have to win 50 times to get your money back. It's like 6,
yeah.
like
or
throughout the entire season or once. Well, yes.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the benefit of limited and rare is that like your best outcome pays for the whole thing. Now, not everybody gets their top outcome throughout the season, but it does just feel like there are like I hate to say this because I haven't gone through it yet, but it feels too easy.
Yeah.
And maybe by the end of the season, it was like dead wrong. But like did you consider limiteds at all? Or are you just like,
yeah, I bought the Arsenal limited collection as well.
Oh, that's right.
In season, like I want to have like a finger in the pie of everything, but I really feel like I want to move up rather than down, and I want to move out like massively on rare. I feel like if I had 3 elite lineups in every in-season rare competition possible, I feel like my yield per week would be so vast that I could very easily buy into super rare in-season from that yield and then yield there. Now, I wouldn't be able to. I wouldn't go to unique because Pranksy and a few of the other guys, they're just too, and even super rare is very competitive. But I actually think super rare prices with the 3-2 in-season classic split, like you can get like classic Arsenal Thomas Partey for like £35 at super rare, and it's like he looks like he's played his way back into the team. Yeah. It's like that's insane how cheap that is. So, and because the points aren't like so extensive, you can have 2. You can go and get Partey in season super rare for a very reasonable price, and then go and have 2 like smasher classic super rares, and now you're like 3/5 of the way,
right,
at a very reasonable price. And again, you only have to hit a few rewards, and of course, the super rares will just maintain value. Well, we believe anyway, compared, especially like premium players. You know what I mean? The stars, Saka super rares not going to be like £100 next year, right? Like if he is, then hey, maybe.
It was a good ride for all of us.
Yeah. But yeah, it does seem like I can't pull the trigger on it, and I don't know why, because it is the most efficient thing in my personal opinion to do. But I really want to just sell everything that I've got that's not my Premier League cards, and then like build out my strategy of like I want a Real Madrid in season, a Bayern in season, a like maybe a City in season to go in champ. And then just have those 4 elite in-season setups and just see how much I win over the season. Because I think the yield would be very big. But then if it's not, I've sold all of these fun pieces and all of this stuff that would give me like lots of lineups rather than just a few lineups. And then my experience has diminished greatly. And for me to reverse that, I'd have to start investing again a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's just the classic like quality versus quantity. And I appreciate both sides of it. Like having if you're somebody who gets a like gets excited about winning. It's easier to get excited about winning when you have 50 lineups than when you have 6. And so, yeah, I don't think either one way is right and one way is wrong. It's just a matter of how you want to play the game. Zhao said here, is it worth it? You can spend the money on Wu Lei, Vargas, Leonardo, and Teixeira and Gustavo, but I just don't think winning classic contender cards is...
He's missed the point greatly. You can buy those players and play them in season. You
cannot.
Yeah, you absolutely can.
You can play one.
Yeah, in 3 lineups. So you can play 3 of those cards. You could play a Romulo in one lineup, a Joao Teixeira in another lineup, and a Wu Lei in another lineup. And now you've got 3 like bang 100 points in an in-season where the point tally is so low. Like, it's actually crazy.
It is.
Look, how many
wild.
people have 5 in-season cards in their lineups and don't have an elite classic piece instead. And like, I was looking at some of the contender in-season like pools earlier, and everyone has 5 in-season cards, and it's just like, what are you doing? You've got an in-season guy who's terrible, instead of just going and buying like even like one of the Japanese or Korean players that always hits 60, 70, 80 points for like £8 classic because people think they have no value. And it's like you've got significant value in there, significant value.
I think the part that's missing with that though is you benefit greatly. Like, feels like everybody who has a Wu Lei also has Vargas and also has Gustavo, and they're ripping 400 point, or I guess 300 from 3 players all the time. Whereas if you only have one, and then you have like your middling in-season cards, it just doesn't feel like it. It's the classic, like you're not surrounding them with the right players. And so I'm not sure it's as powerful as just running them in classic, but you're also, I don't know if you're winning enough.
I think you're wrong, because even if you get like a tier 2 contender in-season reward from classic, if you just get one of the tier 2s that we all know and love, you're making like £8 or $10, because that tier 2s and tier 3s are so worthless. You have to hit those top spots to get the tier 0s and the tier 1s. And even them kind of like top out at like £200, whereas the cash rewards way higher than that. So there's just no like, you would absolutely rather the top cash reward than a star on the top podium rewards.
No doubt.
Of cash, like 100%. And again, like, because of like, when I'm looking, I just bought Glock and Kiersgaard at like £200 each, and I'm like, that's still a lot of money. And I appreciate people can't just go and chuck £400, £500, £600 into the site, but for cards that are about to have, touch wood, fingers crossed, an insane season, the fact that I can run those 2 and then Baidu, who I've got as well, and I'm now rethinking, like, I'm going to go for like an in-season goalkeeper and Romulo, like, or probably Gustavo, because he's on a heater. It's like, you can get the lesser versions from like Sturm Graz, or there's a couple of good players for like Austrian Klagenfurt that score really well, that are literally like £12 in season. So you can actually, if you get a classic goalkeeper, you can spend like 80, 90 euros for in-season cards that are good enough to win you 60 euros a week.
Right.
And it just seems too good to be true. It genuinely seems too good to be true. I don't know how everybody doesn't have this same mindset, and people are still playing with pieces that are like not even just suboptimal, but like freakishly suboptimal. It's
because they truly want to believe that their classic cards can still get them something.
Yeah, maybe.
I think it's as simple as that they're so used to playing classic competitions, or they're thinking like, oh, I'll just win enough in-season cards to play. And it's hard to get enough in-season cards to, like, most starting goalies are tier 1s or better, as awful as that sounds. And so you need to like hit one just to get that if you don't want to pay for a goalie. And then it's like, all right, well, now do you have to hit another star so that you can get, it's much harder. I think there was a lot of optimism by people before the season of like, yeah, I'll just win the in-season cards and play them. It's really not that easy. Fred the Almighty said the Chinese Super League lads have taken me to many in-season rewards this season, especially when captain, which somebody mentioned earlier that, getting 150% of Romulu's score is not bad.
Well, for me, it's now 161% if I captain him.
Excuse me. Excuse me. Kanana here says, what should I do with $500? Either considering a few elite limited lineups or one decent rare lineup.
So I have a theory, and somebody in the chat just said, stopped it. Mike said, don't tell people this. And I'm going to say something that I think you can manipulate with ease. It takes a bit of management, but I think you should have a good rare lineup in a division that is suitable for that. And then every time you get promoted, chuck that lineup away the next season and have 2 rotational or 3 rotational lineups. So you've always got one lineup in your optimal division. So because you don't want like a Brentford to pop off one week against Palace. Now you find yourself in Division 2 and you're just struggling and you're missing. You want that lineup again to go into Division 3. So every time you get promoted, you put in a bunch of, whatever you can get at the absolute cheapest, relegate yourself down again and win again, and constantly have a rotation of lineups, keeping yourself in a division where a low points tally consistently gives you returns.
So Sean brought this up the other day, that he thinks it's basically optimal to always have a Division 3 lineup. That was in Super Rare, I assume. So the equivalent of like one of the lower ones in Rare 2. And my response to that is getting promoted and then using that lineup or that entry next week and get basically auto relegating yourself cuts the amount of weeks that you can get a return in half or more. Because like every time you're in division, you get promoted and now you're putting in a bad lineup. Like you're basically sacrificing that week, aren't you?
No, because you're putting in a different lineup. So like, let's say you've got Brentford stacking rare Division 3 in season and you win like $50 or $60 and it gets promoted to Division 2. The next week you put in the Brentford non-starters. So you know that lineup's going to get relegated, and then have your other Division 3 lineup that you now put your Brentford collection in. So one week you're literally getting promoted and relegated simultaneously at the same time. Now it halves the amount of lineups you can have, but the question was about, should I go for 2 limiteds or 1 rare? So if you can only afford to have 1 rare, having that on a constant rotation in a lower division just seems smart.
As well, you're like the weeks that Brentford have the bad matchup, which happens plenty. Like you're basically winning nothing. Even in the lowest.
But the like for me, the point is, I don't know if we can like pull up the price. I don't know if we even want to use Brentford, but the buying like a really cheap in season team would be easy. You can go and get like £4 players even in the Premier League. You can spend like probably about like £15 to have a rare in season Premier League lineup of like tier 5s, DMPs and stuff. I sold a guy for like £3 that I crafted, and it's like, so that's easy. So a Brentford lineup, I don't know how much it would cost in season, but you would only have to hit a reward, even at the lowest tier, like 3 or 4 times throughout the whole season in Division 3 to get 100% yield.
So let me bring up a question that our good friend in spirit, hopefully still just driving, has brought up. Should that be the goal? Like, is that enough to just get your money back?
Right, and but that is where, like, that's where Sorare's changed a lot now, and I don't think anyone would get their money back. The reason why, remember when I talked about this with like a lot of my collections before, I'm like, I want to use this collection to earn enough, like earn its money back to buy the next collection and then go from there.
Yep.
So if you've got a Brentford stack, whatever, that you spent €250 on, and then you won €250 with it, you can now go and buy, like in Bundesliga, Wolfsburg stack and do the same thing again. So it's not necessarily about getting your money back. It's about generating enough revenue to, like, I think when people earn 100% ROI or more, they feel like they're winning, even if they don't withdraw it. There's so many cards that I love looking at where I'm like Denny Bwanga, He's like very cheap on the market now for his super rare, but I've already made way more on his card than I spent on the card. And even though I've put that back into so rare and that might have depleted massively, I feel like a winner with him. And so if people have that, a collection where they've got 100% ROI, even if they spend it on something else and it's still in the so rare ecosystem, I think, and this is why I think what so rare have done now is so great, because the competition structure is so good, but there are so many that you can just it would take you years and years with this current iteration of the game to turn a Brentford stack in season Premier League today into even just Premier League rare in season classic limited and limited. It'll probably take 4 or 5 years just to get those competitions filled up with that Brentford stacks initial offerings. But it's in my opinion, the mental process of somebody feeling like they've succeeded and then thinking, and I've still got the cards, so I could sell those, and then now I'm in profit. And you think to yourself, let's say you spent £300 on Brentford, and at the end of the season you've sold it, you've stored every bit of cash that you won, and you've got £450. Is all the time that you put into that worth £150 over a whole year? Absolutely not. But you still feel like you're winning, and that's what so rare have got so well. They people feel like they're winning on 100% ROI.
I mean, you can argue that they are. They just haven't retired on it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Josh said it's about £290 for the best in-season rare Brentford lineup, which just feels shockingly low. But I kind of agree with this comment earlier from KB. I'd want my Brentford stack in Division 1 for the week that they pop off, because the amount of people having Brentford in Division 1 will be significantly lower than in Division 3. I actually will disagree with the second part. But the first part, don't you want the jackpot prize?
You can't get Brentford stack in Division 1. Your points will never be good enough to get you in Division 1. You would have to have, assuming you start
2 or 3 times
in a row, and then maintain in a division and pop again. And if you did get from Division 4 to Division 1 with Brentford stack, you've already profited.
Right. Most likely.
Yeah, because as you move up, you're winning. There's some divisions this week. I know the La Liga, you got relegated whilst winning cash.
Yeah.
That's great. Just show up. They don't even have to play. Give me $100 and send me down. I'm happy.
That's funny. I didn't even think about the relegation part of that, because I remember seeing that there were more prizes than participants. But yeah, obviously some people got relegated after winning money.
And what a conflict of interest, because I would want to be I think so rare should change it, and this might actually be a really good way to populate the prize pools correctly. If you win a reward, you are immune to relegation, because then the division that all of those people would stay there. Now the new people will move up, and now all of a sudden it's fairer competition everywhere.
Right. I very selfishly, after getting relegated last week, Keith and I brought up a conversation we'd had previously, and I'm sure we didn't come up with this, but having a relegation avoidance card in a box would just be absolutely amazing.
Yep. 100% agree.
That's all I want. Anyway, sorry if you're listening. I just want excuse me, relegated. I'll stay here. Thank you. Anyway. Do you want to talk about midweeks?
Yeah, absolutely. Because I just read his comment as well. And for people that, Sorare's mantra over the last, maybe 12 months or whatever, has been stars will be stars. And I think midweeks are really playing into that, because the Euro competitions, you need the teams that play in Europe, which generally are the better teams, which generally have the better players. So for me, I get a massive opportunity with Arsenal in the Champions League tournament because I have the Arsenal players. But if you have, I don't know, let's say, I don't even know who's West Ham collection, you're livid because you've got no European football, so you've got no utility. I don't think there's a problem with not having utility for players in the midweek, because like so long as the correct competitions are open for the correct places. Like if you've got contender cards and there's enough games on, contender will be open. So it doesn't matter that there's no all-star for you to play your like 2 Premier League players that might have had a game that week. I think that's more than reasonable, so long as they focus like what they're doing, the in-season prize pools for these big competitions. Because again, it now incentivizes you to have better players rather than to try like, you know, a lot of people like run Sorare dry in Cap 240 or the old all-star, like farming the ETH. And they're the people that are unhappy with the midweeks not being there anymore, because they can no longer turn a really cheap team without any kind of like real thought and just hope that it has a chance of smashing. You know, the broken clock is right twice a day, right? So every now and then you're just going to put a 5 in that you don't expect much of, and it's going to smash. I don't think you like, not that you shouldn't be able to, but I think there's more than enough competitions per week. Like, you know, the teams that didn't make the Champions League in real life aren't sitting there knocking on the door going, hey, what the fuck do we do this midweek? There's no game for us. What are we supposed to do? Can we not go and play again? Like, it's just suck it up. It's tough. It's shit. Like, you know, buy players that are in the Champions League, and then you've got players in the competition that week. And if you don't, football is if Sorare from the outset was a 7-day game week, I don't think anyone would have a problem with it. And you had like double score,
sure,
like best ball, I don't think anyone would have a problem with it. But because there has been something and they've removed it, which I actually think they've done a reasonable job of offering things, including, I don't know if you saw them, the new special weeklies where you like a yellow card gives you 15 points and fouls give you 2 points. I love that. I love that because that's fun. And that's what people with these, in my opinion anyway, and I don't want to offend or anything, but if you've got like a gallery where an all-star in the midweek or a Cap 240 in the midweek is like pivotal to your success on Sorare, your gallery is probably not in the greatest spot in the first place. And so these tournaments are great for you because you can get your like L14, L15, like 45 guy that you know puts in 3,000 or 4,000, constantly gets booked, and you can think, right, this could be his week. This could, you know, you could put in a team full of absolute shitters and absolute shit houses and walk away with a great prize. And I think that's fun. I think that's genuine, and that's what Sorare should be. It should be, like I said to you earlier, like my perception has moved a lot more away from I need to make money to I really just want to consistently be able to buy the things I want on Sorare to have the fun that I'm having. And I think that's fun. I think those special weeklies with those special rules are a lot of fun. I mean, like I'm looking forward to the Cap 200. Like, what are the scores going to be? That's going to be great. If you plan ahead now, you like and this is where like people get lazy. And you was talking about this about like the pick scores the other day as well. Like, you know, people don't want to do their own research. They don't. They just want somebody to do it for them. If you're smart right now and isolate specific games or specific players for that Cap 200, you might be able to find some like some like L15 zeros or some really low L15 players that you have a hunch are going to be involved that week. You know, maybe it's I don't know, like maybe River Plate have got a continental game that week, so they're going to rotate. So you just go and get their like, you know, their L15 27 midfielder that you're pretty confident will start that game week. All of a sudden, you've got a massive edge. But what will end up happening is the tournament will come around, and then the day before it starts, people are like, right, let me go and find the best players. And they've already shot up in price. And it's like, well, that's your fault. That's your fault. Like,
okay, there was a lot there.
Yeah, there was. Sorry.
No apology needed. I'm going to push back on the whole, like, your players should just play in the Champions League to get midweek utility. And this is totally selfish because I own these players that are playing in Copa Libertadores. And during that game week, it's like the second leg of the quarterfinals. All I have is underdog. That's
right. So on that note, like I talked about the Leagues Cup stuff as well, because I think, you know, last season we had Sorare did a lot with like the 8-game week thing where it picked your best 4 games. They should have done that for Leagues Cup, right? There's no excuse. Even if they just gave boxes or like, you know, a nominal amount of cash and cards and some boxes or something, I think people would have been much better, like much happier with that. But for when there's competitions like that and there's no place to put them, that's a kick in the teeth. But so long as they've got a competition for you to play in, they don't want, like, it's bad for everybody long term for everybody to constantly be able to just use what they've got in their gallery to continually earn rewards.
That's fair. That's fair. But I think that's taking it beyond what they've offered. Like, I think they're still offering not enough, even though there shouldn't necessarily be an expectation that every single game all the time will always be covered. I think they've gone too far in cutting it back.
So as we know, Nicholas is watching this.
Of
Right?
course.
What's the solution? I think the solution is to constantly have Contender Classic open all the time for these situations. And even if it's a Premier League card or a Challenger card, if you've got no place in a midweek, you've got Contender Classic.
Well, the problem is that they seem very hell-bent on this rule that it only counts for league games.
Yeah. They just need like a global competition, don't they? Like an all-star, you know what I mean? But the term all-star is a bit unfair, isn't it? Because
I agree. Yeah, it's all players. Just all players.
Yeah.
It's global all players. That's just make it sound as garbage as it actually is. There was more of that. What did you finish with? Because that threw me off. Lost it. Damn. Is it the champion special that they announced? So they have new, or the in-season Champions League contest that they're having, whatever they call it, European something.
Yeah, European Nights, I think, yeah.
Rewards cash and cards, which we really haven't done before. This whole like use in-season cards to win cards also. Can we just use those?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Instead? Like I don't see the need to have to make the in-season competitions reward cards if we're so tight on cards being rewarded everywhere else.
I again think it's and I'm not speaking on behalf of Sorare here. Like, I don't know this for sure, but like my logical thinking there is, again, they want the stars to be stars. They want you to be able to sit there and say, hey, like for me, I'm so grateful for this competition because I've got the Arsenal players that I've got and the other Premier League players that I bought, which is specifically a couple of Liverpool players. I can field 2 very strong lineups and 1 good lineup in the Champions League nights. And so I'm now sitting there thinking like, yes, this is an insane added utility to my cards that I didn't expect. And I think, again, for the platform as a whole, that's really healthy to encourage like your good players to be more rewarded than somebody showing up with a Libertadores stack of guys who are going to hit 450 points and beat, like, let's say Arsenal play in the Champions League and they win 4-0 at home to PSV, or what did we win? Or against Lens, we won 6-1 or whatever it was. Like, that's worth more than River Plate beating some minnow team 4 or 5-0. And so I think that's what they're going for. That, like, and I personally think it's fair. I think it's healthy anyway for the longevity of the site. And the sooner that people get on board of the better cards will be eligible for the better rewards, the happier everyone will be.
A few people are saying about this whole in-season and classic Champions League. Like, I saw the update, but I was almost certain that the in-season was both, and then classic was just cards. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe the in-season is just cash. What's that?
There's Classic Champions League.
Yes.
When did that get? I thought it was just in-season.
That was part of the announcement today.
Really?
Like the new calendar.
Yeah, I read through it thoroughly.
Here, hold on. Show it to everybody here. So the graphic itself says classic and in season.
Oh, that's awesome. So maybe they have split that then. Maybe
they have. Yeah, I don't know if so. Like, I don't know if like it's in season is the $65,000 and then the classic cards or both.
I mean, that's even better for me because then I've got 3 more Arsenal.
Yeah, there you go.
Like, yeah.
Yeah.
I agree with what KB97 says there. This goes all the way back to your lineup of 5 Koreans shouldn't let you win an Mbappe. And it was nice when we had that as an option.
Agreed.
But it was unsustainable. And
agreed there too.
Yeah, and I like I've said to Josh Excels, who's in the chat as well now, like I really think the way Sorare have got this game, and I said it to you before we went live, I think it's in a really, really good spot. Like I think it's in a really healthy place. And I think they're finally making decisions like these midweeks that are better for the platform long term rather than better for people not complaining in the short term. Because hilariously, there's a guy, Rob was in my chat today, and I asked him about Ultimate Champions, and you mentioned it just beforehand as well. And basically, like they notioned that everything that the community wanted them to do, they did. And I think that might have been like almost like what you were saying as well. And it's like if Sorare just did what we wanted, so like it just wouldn't exist.
It wouldn't exist. Absolutely, straight up would not exist.
And that's not to say that they get every decision right either. But I personally really like, and it might be some weird selfish bias because Arsenal are doing well all of a sudden in real life, and it all kind of like ties in. Like if I was like a Palace fan, I might be sitting there cursing it because I'm like, I get very little utility out of my players. But I think they're pushing this site in a really healthy direction.
You said that just before we started, actually. That like,
yeah, they do.
Yeah, you're very confident, or at least you really.
So long as they don't change, yeah. And that's the thing that's hit us so many times before, isn't it? Like we've had so many like good, like like for me personally, from my own like experience on this site, there's so many times that they've done something and then I've strategized towards it, and then they've completely changed where they're going, and it's been at my expense massively. But then I buy into their next change and I'm like, yep, now I'm going to do this. I bought so many super rares for Rare Pro. So now I've got all of these super rares that aren't good enough as a group together in super rare, but were exceptional in Rare Pro that I can't sell and I can't use. And I'm like, this has come at a massive expense to me. And now I'm buying into this as well. And I've said on my stream a few times, if they deviate a lot from this path, I'm gone. I'm not going to sit here and have them change every night, like 12 to 18 months to try and, I don't know, please the bank balance or whatever at everybody's expense. Eventually there has to be a line in the sand. And I'm really hopeful that this is the one where they can just carry it forwards long term. The only thing that I worry about, I don't think midweeks is a big issue. I think that if they really wanted to, if there was enough like uproar, or if there was enough games, I think that's what they base it on a lot, isn't it? How many games are there really? How many cards are eligible for the games that are there as well? I think they would probably put up an all-star if there was like, thousands of lineups as a possibility kicking about. They'd probably put up an all-star. But I think the only worry I have is Classic in 1, 2, 3 years from now. What are they going to do with that? Like they can just keep adding. You can have 4 entries next year and then 5 entries the next year and stuff, just to have somewhere to play your team. But there just won't be enough prizes,
right,
to accommodate the number of lineups that there will be. They have to find a way to change that, or they just have to let people accept the fact that their cards will die after in season.
So that's been like a concern from the beginning. Like obviously they know that there's only a finite number of rewards that they can give away in terms of cards, because there's a finite number of cards every year. And I guess it's a positive at one point, because we're just like, sometime in the next 8 years, they're going to have to figure this out. And now we're like, sometime in the next 5 or 6 years, like we're getting closer to it. And Essence is obviously like, or really just reward boxes as a whole is a gigantic part of the solution, because you're not having to reward as many cards. You can reward basically like fractional cards for a while. But Peter makes this good point. Stars will be the only playable cards in Classic at some point. But so to go back to what you were saying about how they've changed the game. And I don't think you were implying this part at all, but they didn't change the game drastically, like just to change the game. And it wasn't because like people were upset and it was like the model didn't work for like a business to stay open. And so, and I think most users appreciate that being able to buy 10 cards and just farm cash or ETH for eternity is not going to work from a business standpoint. And this push to like rewarding cash and the better prizes to people who are spending the money to buy new cards every year, like we all get it. It makes sense.
Yeah.
If we get to a point where they're like, okay, we have to change it again. Like you were like, you're gone. I imagine most people are gone, because if this one doesn't work, I don't know what works.
Yeah, they're just bad at it, aren't they? If it doesn't, if they obviously aren't the company to take this sort of fantasy NFT thing to the next step, if they can't make it work now, they've had plenty of time, they've had plenty of money. Like that, like I do feel like there's been a lot of really quality like community ideas that they don't communicate on why they might not work or any, you know, things like that. Like but I think the free to play is now brilliant. I think the pros leagues are brilliant. Like there is still room to improve, of course. But just going back to one comment from Koos JFC, he says Classic already sucks, not just in 1, 2, 3 years. My question there is like, if we had the old system, where do you think those cards are going?
Like, thank you, because it feels like everybody has completely ignored the fact that Classic is basically the same. Like the competitions are called a little differently, and you could argue. I don't even know if you can actually enter more lineups now with the 3 entries and playing down and all this. You probably can make more, but like, yeah, if they had never introduced the in-season stuff, like all of these in-season cards would be in Classic anyway, because that's just what we would be doing. Like,
yeah. And then what? Now
and then what?
Like,
right.
Yeah. So again, and that's why I love the in-season thing. I think is genius because it gives reason to constantly purchase into the game, but you do still have value in Classic cards because you can fit one in. I think I think I heard you talking maybe with Harry and Gator Guy about next year maybe they would go for like just 5 in seasons. I think the first step is not allowing captain in a Classic card. That would be great because, you know, like I said, I've got like Bukayo Saka's on like 15% before I even captain him. He's, you know, that's an insane bonus. If I captain him as well, I get 65% on him. That's huge for a rare card to score a maximum of 165 points is crazy.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I think that was my first one. I had something else to talk about as well, but I've kind of like lost the thought process. But yeah, that's what I was going to say. There will come a time where we have hit like, I can't remember like how to like perfectly explain it, but as many cards are coming in, cards will be retiring and leaving. There will be a point in the cycle where we are at maximum capacity, and that's what they've got to plan for in terms of Classic. And it's probably like, it's a long cycle. It's probably like, you know, what's an average player's career, like genuine career, like 13 years, 15 years. So they've probably got to plan for like a 15-year cycle somehow in Classic.
I think it was Maxime actually who said it probably this time last year, that they were like 4 or 5 seasons away from maximum cards.
Okay, yeah.
Because you just think like the older play, like Hulk will probably still be playing, but like Cecina and like, you know, there are older players who are very good in this game, but they are going to retire. And so at some point, like it's not like the number of playable cards will just go infinitely higher. Like there is going to be a maximum at some point.
So Ben disagrees though. He says we don't just mint teenagers though. New players will outnumber retirements. But like when, like let's take like Lamine Yamal now. In 20 years from now, when he retires, 200,000 limited Lamine Yamal cards disappear. They're just gone. Now you need another player to fulfill that cycle to match his cards. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter like if they don't only mint teenagers. There will be a point in time where, you know, it might vary 1 or 2% up or down based on, you know, leagues or amount of players. You know, like this season Arsenal got 29 players, last season only had 25 players, things like that. But overall, there will be like a tipping point where we have got as many players as we will ever have in the game. And that's where we then look at scalability and potentially moving to another tier down of 10,000 cards. And, but that's in like a dream world of like, hey, Sorare's
it would be
really like
awesome
taken
if we
off.
got there.
Yeah.
I think you also have to look at this, and Josh hits on this a little bit. It said, I actually don't think it's the length of career, it's the length of elite scoring, because it is true that it's possible that when we get to peak cards, like the peak number of cards that we have, that doesn't mean that the number of reasonably played cards is drastically different. Like ultimately, most cards on the platform, you don't want to put in the lineup.
Yeah.
And so like increasing the number of those cards probably doesn't change the game all that much.
Yeah, because you can think about it as like a domino effect, right? Because let's say City buy a brand new striker that starts smashing it. That means Haaland no longer smashes it at City. Then maybe he goes Barcelona. That means Barcelona's striker no longer smashes it there. And so that you have like a knock-on effect until eventually it's because one final domino has fallen over. And that's all it takes. It just takes one card out to allow one new premium scorer in. So yeah, that's definitely there. But as we've discovered a lot from like the chat here, people want a place to play their shit cards. And I appreciate that. As somebody who has a gallery packed full of shit, I would love somewhere to continuously play my cards. Like who did I have this game week? So we had Sebastian Blanco, 36-year-old midfielder that I bought for my Portland Timber stack, who now plays for Atletico Mineiro. I want to play him just because I have him. He's not good. He won't score well. He'll probably retire in the next 1 to 3 days. But I want to play him, like
I will say that this getting rid of regular cat modes and having them be special weeklies like provides a very interesting dynamic in terms of everybody's gallery, where it's like, do I want to hold on to these cards that are generally terrible because I know that there's like a cap 200 coming up? And for the most part, the answer is yes. You end up just keeping them because you're like, do I really want to sell this card for €3, €1, or do I just keep it for cap 220? And we keep it. Whoa. Oh no, we lost Nep. We keep it because we say, "Oop, there he is.
I'm back.
Sorry." And now I'm on the other side. But we keep these cards just for like the hope that we can play them one day. And I don't think it's those cards that like essentially lose utility that we're upset about. It's just the better ones that you're like, oh no, I paid a lot for this card thinking that I could win all this stuff, and the rules change and now I can't even play the card. And that's where it comes. That's where the frustration comes, mostly with the midweeks.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I agree. I do think there are things like, we don't have a burn mechanism other than Pavel. We can have a burn mechanism whilst keeping the cards on the platform. What Josh says there, like locking a card, there's so many things they could do. Like, I don't know the math right now, but imagine every time you locked a card into a collection, you got 1 essence. You can never play that card in SO5 again. You still own it. You can still sell it, but it will be sold as a locked card. So whoever buys it just gets it for their collection. And it's a one-time only 1 essence. So like if you sell it, that guy doesn't get the essence. So you can just start like farming it. But you lock it to a thing, you get 1 essence.
And it's unplayable, you said? That's the lock?
Yeah, like you could do an unsellable lock where you can still play it. And then you could also do like an unplayable lock where you like, you
my gallery is filled with locked unsellable players.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Like, because again, it would give, it would like, you spoke on this like a fair few times when people like suggest burning mechanisms. Like, there's no value to anyone for deleting every tier 5 off the site. The same issues are still here because they're not the cards that you're playing. They're not the cards you're competing against. They don't really have any value. So like, how do you give those cards value without it being an imbalance to the site?
Mm-hmm.
And that's on Sorare to decide. But I do think like I'm not sure. Again, I'm not sure on the math would like how much essence would be too much to the point where there'd be more essence than there are cards, or market credits would be a great idea, or something else in the box, kind of like level ups. But I hate the fact that level ups have a maximum usage, especially when you buy a card that's already got 3 level ups. And now with the new system, you don't have I don't think you have XP over the level 20 anymore. So like before, I once bought a level 20 card that was still level 20 when I bought it because the guy had so much XP on it that after it halved, I was still good. But now I think it just tops out. So
I don't think so. No, I think you can keep going. XP keeps going.
Yeah, but I can't see it though. That's the thing. I don't know where to, like, maybe it's just moved from where it was, but I don't know how to actually see it. But it's one of those things where it's like, why are we limiting the number of level ups we can use rather than limiting how often we can use them? Right? Because all of a sudden now, again, like level ups in the box would have so much more value if I wasn't like, well, I've got 74 of them left and no one to put them on. If I'm like, well, I only have to wait 6 more days and then I can put another one on my Martin Odegaard. And then, you know, if they have it like, they could have it as like the more you use, the longer you have to wait. So your first 3 you can do straight away, then it's a 7-day wait, then a 14-day wait, a 30-day wait, like a 90-day wait, and so on and so forth. Although by the time you get there, you already have your level 20. But there are so many things they could put into boxes that haven't been thought of yet that would be the answer to the problem that a lot of people have with like, well, what am I going to do with this pile of shit? Like,
and solves the running out of card reward problems.
Yeah. But that's their job to fix. That's
sure.
Yeah.
I do feel like I respond this way to a lot of things when people like complain about something. It's like, well, what's your solution? But there is a point where it's like, it's not our job to come up with these solutions.
Yeah.
It's our job to play this game, light our money on fire, and have fun.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. Well, I absolutely love what Peter suggested. And like I think I said this in my Discord before, beat the game for boxes instead of for cash or ETH. So good. Because if you win market credits, you're still spending money on the site. And if you win essence, like, because it's like somebody said to me today when I was talking about like why I think in season so good, and somebody's like, oh, what about like the guy that wins classic and gets like that elite in season card? I'm like, yeah, but then he has 1.
Yeah,
like you can't do anything with 1. Like you need 5 or 4. And so it's like, even if they gave essence in boxes there, and they can adjust the percentages. And again, if they're open with communication and they had like a beat the game, not a 220 or 250 or 280, just you can get 1-star box through 5-star box, and here are the points tallies for you to hit. Like, doesn't have to be a cap mode. Just you put your lineup in, have 3 of them, 3 lineups, so you can win effectively 3 5-star boxes in a week. I think that incentivizes people to spend into the site, not to be like, yes, I can yield, because almost everything you yield can't be taken off of the site.
Right.
And so I think that's like a really good idea.
I think the absence of a beat the game, which obviously it was the reward of beating the game that made everybody play it, but it is still a game mode that people really like to play.
Yeah.
And so if you're in this situation where if you don't have the best cards and you're just like dying in division 3, 4, 5, wherever every game week, that's not a very rewarding experience. And so having these different beat the game ideas or contests, like, will keep people engaged.
And listen, instead of special weeklies, which we all want anyway as well, they could have beat the game like this midweek that people are talking about, where it's like, I've got nothing, just a simple hit, like, call it whatever you want, like cat mode, literally call it beat the game, like, beat the game. You go in, you've got, you can even have like very strict rules, like somebody suggested in the chat, they're having a in-season card must be a requirement. Like there's things that they can do where, like, I just think like giving out cards is a big issue for them. I don't really think giving out cash is. And it again takes me back to the whole, I can't believe how cheap players are for winning cash, because like buying an in-season card to play a beat the game thing, I don't think people would have a problem with, because in-season cards are actually massively affordable.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, they've got a target for a box would be good. a target for a box would be good. And if you're never guaranteed a card, again, it then comes down to balancing the number of essence versus the number of cards left. And that then is like leads me to just have another thing that's kind of like level ups and kind of like market credits that offers some value but doesn't give you a card. I don't know what that would be. Maybe a hat. I don't know.
They got plenty of those.
Socks loads of hats. Yeah.
But even we talked about talking about microtransactions last year? 2 years? Whatever. It's so rare a time. Could be 100 years ago. Like, well, we talked about cosmetics, like for your gallery. Like they could give that away in a beat the game, and people would be like, "Cool, hey, I got this badge because I beat the game." Whenever.
So I was looking at some lineups from the Premier League a couple of days ago, and the special edition Bukayo Saka was there, and it just stands out. And it doesn't mean anything, doesn't do anything, like it's, they put a lot of emphasis on the 3D spinning cards and stuff, but I would 1,000,000% play for skins. If I could get a special trim on my Arsenal players so that when somebody clicks on my name and they see that, I will play for that. I will put in lineups that could win cards and cash for a fucking skin. 100% would. And I think a lot of people would, because when you look at some of the best games that monetize, they are free to play. League of Legends is free to play. Fortnite is free to play. Yet they make billions of dollars from selling cosmetics. Sorare are genuinely missing a trick, not offering and selling cosmetic items.
I think it's as simple as like, because if you want to keep it in the like sports card idea, like a case, you can put your card in,
100%.
Put whatever the hell you want on the case.
Yep,
it's easy.
It is easy, but it's the sort of thing that I don't know, like how difficult it would be to code it or to like maintain it or like constantly updating skins and stuff. But like I've just started playing with Josh and another friend, Teamfight Tactics, which is like a League of Legends like auto chess game. And one of my emblems on there is a 2014 Fnatic emblem, which is a League of Legends team that I supported back in 2014. And I paid like £35 or something for that. And then I didn't play the game for 8 years. Yet when I came back to it, I was like, oh yeah, like I forgot I had this. That's so sick. And it's the same sort of thing. You could just like, I don't know, they're partnered. Every card that they're releasing today, they're partnered with them in some way. They could easily get the rights to have like, the image on the card. I don't know how easy this would be to do because I don't know, even though it's a picture on a screen, I don't know how I don't know if it's like the entity in itself is actually changeable. But when Martin Odegaard at the end of one of the Arsenal games took the cameraman's camera and took a picture of him, imagine you could like unlock that to have that as your image instead of Martin Odegaard standing there like he's got a gun behind his head. That would be awesome. And people would buy into that massively. Yeah, there you go. Peter just said it. They need dynamic images. That would be awesome. And I don't know why. And this is another thing that I think they miss a trick on. Team of the week cards, team of the season cards, team of the year cards, like special editions. Just like one of the reasons why I think we haven't had too many special editions is because they offer a significant boost in collection score. But if we made the ultimate goal of a collection, the ultimate reward of a collection, completing the collection rather than getting 750 points, wouldn't matter if they released loads of special edition cards, because completing a collection would be what's valuable. So when now they've got a specific Premier League tournament, like I don't know what the FPL actual team of the week was. Let's have a look. The actual team of the week, I don't even know how to see it. I assume like Bukayo Saka's in it, right? Because he got a goal and assists. He was a top scorer on Sorare, so I assume he's in there. If we just had like the cards for Bukayo Saka released, even if it's just the next 5 editions, the next 5 mints of Bukayo Saka are a team of the week version where it's got a dynamic picture from him from the game, and they did that for 11 Premier League players every week, it would just be so good. And it would make me think, do I want to buy this Bukayo Saka? Do I want this one? Do I want to invest more? Or is there a way to win the skin? You know, is there a way to win that version of not the card itself, but to apply it to my card? Can we build, instead of essence, have like mana, because it's another one of the game things, have mana. Once you get a certain amount of mana, you can unlock a card design, and you get mana from playing in beat the game tournaments, or even from playing in classic. You know, every time you play a classic game, you get 10 mana, and then the higher up you go, you earn more. It's just, there's so many things they could do that don't end up with here's a card for someone or here's some cash for someone, that would have people connect with the site, connect with the game, and spend money. Like, I think people would just spend money on skins more than they would spend money on cards.
I think you could make the argument that you don't need any special cards if you could sell special cases.
Yeah, 100%.
Like, you're not actually changing your agreement with the leagues. It's like, nope, we still are selling this gun behind his head, Martin Odegaard, but we have this case that we also sell that says Team of the Week, and it shows the date. Maybe it, for every time he makes the Team of the Week, it just adds on to your case. Like,
yeah. And you know, another thing that I think they miss massively, they need to lean into Football Manager stats. And like, I would love to be able to like reverse my 3D card and just see, like, even if it's just like the last 5 of like his scores or his game, like, you know, I know you can click on it now and stuff, but I want to see like data that's pertinent to me, my gallery, and my card, by turning around and be like, look at all these cool accolades that he's got, you know, scored 50 goals. Damn, because this card has got 50 decisives for me. How sick is that? I hit a first place on the card. Now the card's got a little one at the top, or the case, you know, if they're not allowed to touch the cards, the case has got, Bukayo Saka's case has got 3 1s on it. Oh, what do those 3 1s mean? Yeah, I've won 3 tournaments with this card. Like, how sick is that? Because then you line up your 1s and you're like, look at my fucking 1s here. This is sick, right?
That's all I want to do is be able to throw up a lineup and be like, all of these cards have won tournaments.
Yeah.
Here I'm going. Yeah. I hope
Nicholas, if you're watching, just give us a jump in. Come on.
Yeah, let me send the link to Nicola so he can do it. It's a good question. Have you actually talked to Sorare about this?
No, the last time I spoke to Sorare, it was more about like the essence and the crafting and things, and you know, like I think sometimes the thing that we forget, and this is true to FIFA as well, because they're a really small team that like actually develop FIFA and stuff. Mm-hmm. Like, I know EA, a big, you know, organization and stuff, but the Sorare development team and the people building it and working on it, it's not a massive team. Like, they don't have unlimited funds. I think there was a lot of kind of like, not misinformation per se, but misunderstanding of information when Sorare got valued at like 3.1 billion or whatever. That doesn't mean shit. Like, it just doesn't mean anything. You can have businesses like Shell was valued at like 10 billion, then they had an oil spill and like their stocks just fucking plummeted. Like, it just doesn't mean anything. And so even some of the questions I asked about essence, the lady was like, oh, we hadn't thought about that. And it's like, for me, it was like a very blindly obvious, like, this is a first step question, but for them it wasn't. And so these are the sort of things that, like I say, like, I like the path we're on. I don't think we'd need to deviate much, but these are the sort of things where I'd be like, okay, this is a really cool addition without changing the overall structure of the game. So I think maybe we'll get there in time.
All I'm going to think about is cosmetics now.
Yeah. I think we've had a cosmetics discussion before, many moons ago. Yeah. But it does. It's nice that other people get like Ben Johnson there says, he's pumped listening to this. It's nice that other people get that feeling that I get about Sorare, because like, I've become so passionate about Sorare over the last few years. I've had my ups and downs with the sites and, you know, with making content and stuff, but Sorare has become such a significant part of my life on a day-to-day basis now. But I don't know what to do with myself if it disappeared. Same. Neither you. Like, for you, it's a little bit more serious, but yeah, for me, I don't know what I'd do.
Yeah, I think the humongous benefit that they have is, and obviously not everybody is going to be positive about every moment of Sorare, but there is a gigantic base of the community that's really passionate about the platform. And it's kind of what I tried to talk about whenever I did a stream was that last week, 2 weeks ago, whenever, that the people need to get Sorare need to understand that people are really passionate about this, not because they like just want to get rich, but they love this platform. They love being able to play. They love the scouting. They love everything, competing. They love everything about it. And so when something feels a little off, they just want to be like, hey, this seems off. We're trying to have, and I just feel like hopefully we're getting closer to that they can see or like hear these ideas and they're like, oh yeah, maybe we just didn't think of that. Instead of just like, no, this is our plan and that's it.
Or maybe they thought about it and it was just the wrong time.
Yeah, absolutely.
To implement it.
Yeah, absolutely. And as Mike said, yeah, if anything happened, I'd have to get a real. Yeah, we can't have.
Yeah, me too.
Me looking for a real job. You got anything else?
I had loads. But
let's go. What do you?
Well, we were here for collections, right? So
we were, yes.
One of the things I love about collections. Oh, can I ask you for some like Sorare data stuff? It's something I've asked before, right?
This has been a while since. Hold on, let me get my notebook. It's been a while.
There's two really key things that I'd love. The first one is to be able to get rid of options when creating lineups. All those guys are just never. I just want to get rid of them. I want to see a pool of the players I'm actually selecting from to build my lineup from. And I know when I asked you that before, you spoke to Maxime and he was like, that's what the AAA thing does. And I'm like, no. Sometimes it's like a C player that I'm like, they're a real contender for being in my team. And the other one is just putting notes on players. I just want to put a note. I just want to click on a player and be like, don't sell this player ever, like for whatever reason, or this player has to be sold. You know, like I just want to be able to, note. It's just simple stuff.
I didn't write anything down.
Just as you're noting things down now, it's nice, isn't it, to just have a little space to write something down.
I feel like I must have just lied to you because I really thought I wrote something down in here once that you gave me an idea on, and now I don't see it. The hiding play. So you're talking about like hiding players in the lineup builder?
Yeah.
So would you want them hidden forever?
No, just like you like minimize them almost.
So
and then maybe a button that's like, bring everything back, and then you can go back through and like minimize it all again.
So you want to hide all of your like John Buck players every single game week individually?
No, not having it like once you minimize them, you have to choose to bring them back.
Okay.
And I appreciate for some people that might be like I didn't even know he moved and now he's playing and I've missed the fact that he's played for the last 3 game weeks.
Right. Yep.
Yeah. But yeah, like I feel like if you do that, that's your problem. Like
that's fair. That's fair.
Like,
the response, the recent response I got from Vita about hiding players in the lineup builder is the importance of unhiding players, and people just don't think of that. And having to like, if you want to do every game week, do you have to like hide all your players, or every game week do you unhide all of them, or unhide some of them?
As a starting point, I think every game week hiding them would be great because, like I say, like if I go into my lineup builder like right now, and then I could just clear away 60-70% of the players I know I'm just not going to pick.
Mm-hmm.
And it makes it easier for me and probably for everyone to just look at what is there and be like, okay, who's the best choice, rather than be like, there's him, and then I'll scroll down and then I'll be like, oh, Alvarado moved to Universitario. Jesus Christ. He's only a D because he hasn't played for the last 7 games. And then he went and got like 80 points on his debut. And I didn't have him in the lineup because he was just too far down the list. So,
he would have been hidden.
Yeah, it might have been hidden. Yeah, I would never hide him. Never. So yeah, that and notes were all I had for the start. But in terms of collections, I think the thing that led us here was me talking about Rivals collections. Remember I mentioned something about how, to add some value to the free-to-play side, because Rivals is supposed to be like the onboarding tool, and I think it's brilliant. I think they've done a great job. The new sub thing is great. The 5-minute sub thing I think is brilliant. But what I would love to see more of is like when you play Rivals, you pick from 2 teams. At the end of the game, you should be able to select. You should have collections of every single team, and I know they have them. You can go on the site now and uncheck like collections you don't know cards off, so they've got every collection on the site already. Like they don't need to change the capacity for that. But once you play a Rivals game, you should, of the 5 Rivals players that you pick, you should be able to add one of those into a common collection. And then as you build up the collections of those players, once you hit like what we know as the 50-point mark for that 1%, you get a 1-star box. And it doesn't have to contain essence, it contain market credits, because if you're playing Rivals and you win some market credits, what are you likely to go and do? Go and spend. And then it also incentivizes people to play more Rivals and waste their tickets. And so when they've wasted their tickets because they're trying to farm these collection points and they've got no tickets left, but they're still itching to play Sorare, what are they going to do? They're going to go and buy cards because they want to play actual Sorare. And it would just be a really, really good part of like teaching people the benefits of collections without them actually having to pay for collections. And it's another like beat the game thing. It's like, oh, I haven't got Cole Palmer yet, so I'm just going to put Cole Palmer in his lineup because I want his common collectible.
It's a fun idea.
Yeah, it's fun, and that's what it should be, right? It should be fun.
Yeah, that's a good one. I think the only thing holding them back on that is they probably can't do common collections of like clubs they don't have licenses for. Obviously, like for the Prem, that's fine. Like they'll have those. But I guess that's probably, it doesn't matter, I guess. Like the clubs they don't have licenses for, they don't care. Nobody's building a collection for these teams.
Or they could just introduce like an extra currency so that you can unlock players. So you can use all these. Like,
we already had a currency nap. I've got 212,000.
Well, they can use coins. They can fucking use the coins, can't they? You win coins, even using like these unlicensed teams. You win coins, and then with coins, you buy the collection, the common collections, and like, you know, the tier 5s cost less than the stars, even in the common thing. So, and people will be like, wait, why is Haaland collection card like 3,000 coins, whereas Scott Carson is like 20 coins? And you're like, yeah, because Haaland's more valuable. If you want to complete that Man City collection and get that 5-star box, you got to win enough coins in Rivals to go and get him. Like, so rare high net, mate. If they wanted to pay me, I'd be down for it. Yeah, National Series cards were they were terrible, but they're good for it.
They were.
I still try. Once a month at least, somebody tries to scam me with like a National Series Mbappe that they try and swap for like a rare Odegaard or something. I'm just like, do you think I'm stupid? I'm like, he does look good though. I might finally got my own Mbappe.
I respect it. I'm not gonna lie. I think I was the first person on the entire platform to have the full USA collection of National Series cards. Would love to have that money back.
Oh, did you actually buy them? Did you?
Oh yeah.
And this is what I mean. They can make money without you've bought cards that have no SO5 utility.
None whatsoever.
Yeah. In fact, I saw a legend, a super rare, I think it was Cruyff, sold a few days ago for like £800. What? Yeah, what? I don't understand. Why would you buy a legend right now? I get, like, maybe in training they're good, but...
Haber said, I remember spending £30 on a National Series Messi, thinking in 10 years it will be worth thousands. In fairness, you've got 7 years to go.
Well, this is the other thing about collections and stuff. And like, again, we're in between worlds at the moment of physical and digital. And I still think there's a lot of the population that are way older than us that don't understand the digital side of things. But the new generations coming through are way more in tune with crypto, with NFTs, with like just in general owning digital assets, because everything's digital now. Your music, your videos, your everything. I've got some like cards kind of like there that I'm pointing. That's like a massive collection of like physical cards. And they've sat there for like 2 years and just gathering dust. I honestly believe there will be a day in time, so long as the NFTs on Sorare are really mine and not Sorare's, because we still haven't like navigated that side of things yet, right? But so long as they're actually mine, I genuinely believe that will be worth something. Maybe not the LDU team, because who would give a shit about those? But like my Arsenal collections in 15, 20 years time, they're like, who knows, right? Like, yeah, I've got the launch edition full collection, limited and rare Arsenal setup. Don't have the one-offs, might be something to work towards, but I do think that they will have value, just like Pokemon cards and like trading cards now have value, because why wouldn't they?
So I mean, the list of why wouldn't they is quite long, but I won't even get into it.
It's also long for physical cards. Who gives a shit?
Sure.
Who gives a shit that some guy that's on the card signed the card?
Do you think
Especially
they should do more autograph cards? That they should try harder for that?
Yeah.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. Again, it comes down to cosmetics, right?
Right.
Like, they could do. Speaking of like beat the games or just like midweek competitions, they definitely have enough pull to be like, guys, we've opened this tournament up. There are only 3 prizes. It's only podium. First prize is a signed Haaland. Second prize is a signed this. Third prize is a signed that. All of a sudden, I'm like, do you know what? I'm going to try and actually put a solid lineup in there, because how awesome would it be to get a signed Haaland card? It would just be awesome, even though it's digital. But
yeah,
it would still be sick.
I'm sure they would have a video of him pretending to sign, and you'd be like, "See, it's real. That's the certificate of authenticity."
Or in that specific tournament, you also get a signed. Like, they're not allowed to print physical cards, so you get like a signed Haaland shirt from Haaland as well.
There you go.
Yeah, the jersey and the card. That's it.
Yeah.
A video of Haaland, the DocuSign. Yeah.
Sometimes it's just so easy now.
And here's the thing. So when the person said, "Have I spoke to Sorare about this?" I don't really have like a line. Like, I do speak to one of the guys at Sorare semi-regularly, like, once a fortnight or so. But it's like, I would love to, like, that they should have a community manager. That Sorare show would be an ideal position, because I think you are the hub of like the core of the Sorare community. But I genuinely think they should have like even if they host something on their show where they invite certain creators on and are like, ask us questions. And, you would have to honor the fact that there'd be some things that they just can't answer. But then there'd be some things that they could answer. Like, why don't we have cosmetics? It might be well, there's some legal issues, we can't really answer that. Or it might be hey, it's in the works. Like, let's see what comes. Or it might be wow, we never thought about that. We're going to take this back to the team and let's see where we go with it. But this is something that EA do horribly, because EA think giving people answers, or like giving people answers they don't want to hear, creates negative sentiment. I sometimes it does, but I feel like in Sorare's community, where it's a lot smaller and where people just generally like not morons, like, I don't think people are going to be unhappy to hear that cosmetics won't be coming, to the point where like, well, that's it. My Sorare experience is over. Yeah, like, that's not going to be the thing, like. So yeah, I think they do well to have like a little bit of a few open sessions talking to the community about certain things.
I would almost make the argument too that they. I'm going to put myself in a corner here, but I was going to say, I think most of the things that could be presented to them are things that either they have talked about, like that, like if their responses are like, yes, we've discussed it, here are the issues that we had, or, oh, we haven't thought about that, that's a really good idea, or we can't really say anything about that because it might be in the works. Whereas the number of times where they're like, no, I'm not going to do that, don't even think of it. And that the response from us would be like, what do you mean? Well, then I'm gone. Like, it feels like there's very minimal downside to at least collecting the ideas that people have. And there are a lot of really bad ideas out there. Like, don't get me wrong, not every idea is good, but at least it gives them the opportunity to like pretend to write in a notebook, and then you actually write the good ones down and be like, oh yeah, we can discuss that. And I think there might be a negativity where a lot of ideas come out and over and over, they're like, we didn't think about that. Oh, we've never heard that. Oh, like, you start getting the whole, like, well, what do you guys do all day?
Yeah.
But ultimately it feels like the ideas, it can only be a benefit to have the ideas like at least thrown at them so they can say, yes, we've looked into it, or it gives us the opportunity to hear like why things weren't implemented. And if it's as simple as like, it's a legal headache, okay.
Just say it, yeah. But here's the thing. I think, especially when it comes to like revenue and stuff, I think there's like companies in general are so scared to just say it's just financially irresponsible. But if we had an idea that we thought was great and the chat is like, oh yeah, that's sick, and then we presented it to Sorare and they're like, guys, it would just cost so much to code. We're not guaranteed to return off of that. It's a big risk for potential no return. Yeah, fair enough. But they seem scared. They're scared to say it. Like, it's like they're scared to say, oh, we're money driven. But they're a for-profit organization. who cares? Yeah, you want to make. I want to make money too. That's why I'm giving you these ideas. I want the money. We all want to make money. Nobody's here to lose, right? Even if you're here for fun, you still want to win. That's still fun. Like nobody's here to lose. So it's okay to be money driven. But we're just in a world where it's like, if any company wants to make money, you're just bad. I don't know. That's a whole nother topic, maybe for a whole nother day. But yeah.
Yeah, I think the idea that everybody wants is like bring threshold back. And it's like, if they were just, I don't want to say that they're like dishonest about it, but if they were more open about it, be like, it costs too much money to pay out all of these rewards for the cards that you're buying. Done.
Yeah, fair
okay,
enough, yeah.
We get it.
Or if they're like, here's a simulation of Sorare in 12 months, if we kept 240 up based on current data, you'd be like, oh shit, like, yeah, okay, fair enough. I understand why. Where people are winning like $50 from like 7 cents worth of cards that they've just picked up. It just wouldn't work.
Right. Whereas if we're like, hey, what about a card case with a sticker on it that says I won this? Then, oh, all right.
Yeah.
Let me write that down.
Yeah.
They have plenty of notebooks. I know. This is a Sorare notebook.
Oh, I don't have one of those. Wow. Must be
I
nice
won
to be
it.
in a like beat the game thing.
Sorare NBA, I don't know. I probably finished 925th, and I got this pen, but the little part here fell off, broke off. Well, it's not a high quality pen, I'll say that. And I've actually never seen a notebook like this. This is like, they're not lines in it. It's like they're little dots.
But
it's not
that game.
Like it's not graph paper either.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
You can play that game with your son where you each draw like a line, and then once you submit a box, you put, there you go.
There you go. KB said, you could win a backpack, and there were some other things that you could win. I got this. Yeah. I think one of them was a book light, like that you can stick on a book when you're reading in the dark.
For when you're writing your ideas down with your broken pen. Yeah.
Well, the pen works. It's the cap that's broken. It's really just the part that I don't even know why they put those on pens anymore. Who's putting that? Anyway. Interesting
though. So about pens, and this is where it does relate to Sorare. NPen's brilliant. But like, like Bic or like Biro, they haven't changed their pen in like 70 years because the product's just great. If Sorare are here on a great product, and this is the long-term future of Sorare, like look at FPL. It's been going for so many years, and it's basically the same as what it was day one. Like they've added a few like triple captain boosts and stuff, but Sorare can absolutely have the future. Like I think one of the concerns that I would have if I was like an investor or a shareholder in Sorare, which we technically are investors, but in terms of like actually investing in the company itself rather than the platform, is that there are so many pioneers that are then left by the wayside as other companies do better what they were doing. And Sorare are so set in their ways now that they're not really, they change whenever they want, but another company might be looking at Sorare thinking, okay, we're going to take on board what they've done successfully, we're going to apply all of these things to it that are relevant to the new world, and we're going to have a better product than them. But there are certain products that stand the test of time, and Sorare could be that. And I think everyone would love it if Sorare was that, because I think over time there is a price on entertainment. And I think depending on what your own like ability to spend money is and not get anything back, I would buy an Arsenal rare collection every single year, even if I knew I wasn't getting any return on it, just because I love it. Like that's the value to me of Sorare as an entertainment product rather than as a game to play and win on.
Nep, do you know where Bic was founded?
I do not. Have you just Googled it?
Paris.
What's actually? Hey, there you go. So Paris have got an upstanding history of successful initial iterations.
It's all coming together here. Another fun fact, the Bic US headquarters, same town I live in.
Well, you and Sorare
I don't think this is
the
Bic pen. I don't think they would be.
It's definitely not.
No, this is not the Bic quality. Anyway. All right. We finished on pens. That's perfect. Thank you to everybody for coming. If you could please like the stream, even though Nep has told me so many times it doesn't matter.
I disagree now.
You disagree now?
Yeah.
Wow.
So YouTube algorithm changes. Things change. Likes are good because now it will populate it in the homepage more than it doesn't. I always like the video, by the way.
Thank you very much. I know you're an upstanding YouTuber that would appreciate that. So thank you very much. If everybody else could be like Nep, like the stream, he's on it. He's going to like it too. Subscribe, all that good stuff. Shout out to Quinny, who was here.
Terrible.
What's that?
I said not this one. It was terrible.
No. We knocked this one out of the park, to use a baseball term. Anyway, thank you to everybody. Nep, thank you for coming on. Gator Guy, hope your drive went well, and we'll see you around.
He didn't check in. I don't know if I'm concerned or not.
No.